Well, thanks very much. My name is Brantly Millegan. This is a panel on blockchain names. I'm Director of Operations for ENS, the Ethereum Name Service, which is, I would like to believe, is the leading blockchain name project out there. Just to tell you a little bit about ENS, and then we're going to go down the line and allow everybody to introduce themselves. We're a nonprofit that manages this open source and community-driven project. We've been supported by the Ethereum Foundation. We are integrated in over 100 wallets and dApps. I think we're actually at about 111 now, which is the most by far, by almost an order of magnitude. We also do cryptocurrency wallet naming, so you have one name for all of your cryptocurrencies. We support all cryptocurrencies. Also IPFS websites, Swarm websites, so decentralized websites, Tor.onion addresses, arbitrary information and text records, even DNS records. We have our native top-level domain is .eth, but we're also integrating with the DNS namespace. So Jody's .cred, and Andrew is representing that, is integrated on our system. I'll let him tell you more about that. Also .art, .lux, .xyz, and others. We also want to decentralize naming on the internet.
Hey everybody, I'm Brad from Unstoppable Domains. We build domains on blockchains, so we are a domain registry similar to VeriSign, owner of .com, except for we launch our domain names on blockchains. The reason why is because a blockchain domain is self-custody. You control it completely, no one else controls it, and the purpose of this is to create a censorship-resistant internet that can free the world from tyranny and authoritarianism and all that other bad stuff.
That's awesome. My name is Luke Stokes. I'm the Managing Director for the Foundation for Inter-Wallet Operability, or FIO. So FIO.foundation is where you can learn more about that. Our whole goal is to basically make cryptocurrency so easy to use, anyone can use it. Unlike many of the others on the panel, we're not actually focusing on domains as much as the wallet naming problem. And not just the naming part, but the whole routing of value. So that includes FIO requests, FIO data, and we're working towards making that as secure as it can be. So that's a peer-to-peer encrypted interaction. Because we don't necessarily want everyone to know everyone's balances if we can avoid that as much as possible. We're looking to mainnet launch next month. It's a project that's been VC-backed and worked on for over a year and a half now, and the foundation is a nonprofit that's going to be running this protocol and making it available to wallets and exchanges and payment gateways in the whole space. We have already 28 members prior to our mainnet launch that have signed up and are excited to integrate with it, and we're looking for many more to come in the future.
Thanks for having me on the panel. My name's Devin Finzer. I am working with OpenSea. We're a marketplace for NFTs, and some of the brand new NFTs that are on our marketplace are things like ENS names and .crypto names and soon .cred names. We're super excited about the emergence of this new asset class. Very, very interesting to see these things emerge. So hopefully I'll be able to provide a little bit of the perspective from a website that allows people to trade these types of assets.
Hi, my name is Andrew Horn. I work for .cred. I guess we're the bridge between the new ENS and the Ethereum-based naming services and the old world of ICANN DNS domains. We own a couple of ICANN TLDs, including .cred and .ceo, and we're interested in bringing these worlds together so your Ethereum name can also apply to an ICANN DNS domain.
Great. Did you want to explain these slides at all? We got the slides finally. Sorry, everybody else. This, and then there was this.
So I guess
maybe they're self-explanatory.
This is what I was talking about. A single .cred domain name is both a DNS address, and we've got an integration with Brantly's ENS service, so it resolves on the ENS as well to a wallet address for your Ethereum wallets, solving the naming problem. What Brant was saying about the putting a short name into your browser, into your wallet to send people things. That's all supported via ENS, but it's also DNS records. You can put it into your website, like you put it in your web browser, you put it in Chrome, it'll go to the website that you've got. And this is all controlled by an Ethereum token. You own the token, you can set the DNS records. You own the token, you can set the ENS addresses on 40 different cryptocurrencies. So yeah.
Great. Okay. First question. How do you see your project's blockchain names fitting into the growing NFT marketplace and ecosystem? So this is NFT.nyc. How does your asset fit into that? We can go in any order here.
So we build .crypto domains. They are ERC 721 tokens, which means that any wallet that you use that supports ERC 721 tokens, you can store them and see them. So Coinbase wallet, IM token, Trust Wallet, MetaMask, many others. Also, they work on any secondary marketplaces that support ERC 721s. Devin, of course, the founder of OpenSea, which is the leader, so you can resell your .crypto domain on OpenSea. So yeah, that's how.
One of the things when you're sending crypto and you're trying to validate those big crazy addresses, it can be confusing, and so you might send a little bit to make sure it worked, and then you'll send the whole amount. With an NFT, you can't do that. It's all or nothing. So one of the things that we think is going to be really important for NFT trades is that when you do that request for send, that's actually a key exchange, kind of like a key signing party. You can know that that public address is the right public address. It was actually signed with their private key, and you can validate all the metadata related to that transaction. So you can confidently send that NFT with the FIO protocol in place with whatever wallet is being used, whether it's an exchange or OpenSea or anything like that. And we are also looking forward to, after mainnet launch, working with you guys and hopefully getting it included as well. Very excited about the different marketplaces you're creating. I think the ability to easily send cryptocurrency, and especially NFTs, is really, really important for mass adoption. Without that, we're all kind of kidding ourselves that this is going to take off.
You stole my answer. I was going to say, I think, yeah, so, these names really are vital for transforming what right now looks a lot like IP addresses in the early internet into things that are human readable. And it's, when these things start to go to a broader, more mainstream audience, it's going to be very bizarre if we're all looking at hexadecimal addresses. We'll all be looking at some sort of combination or system of name systems, right? So I think they're vital for that. Of course, I think we have a ways to go there. I think, there's going to be a sort of messy progression of certain apps supporting certain things, other apps not supporting certain things. Maybe even messier than the DNS system. I didn't watch that all unfold, but it's basically what you said.
I think people like labels. Like, they don't deal with 60-character strings of addresses and stuff very well. So I think something nobody's touched on yet is the ability to do reverse lookups as well. Like, if you've got a wallet address, you can submit it to a resolver and have a human readable name come back. And that gives people an assurance that the wallet they're about to send their whatever to, their crypto to, is who they're expecting it to be. Right? If you put my wallet address in there and it comes back andrewhorn.cred, then you know it's me. Right? And so I know I'm not going to be speaking for the whole panel here, but we think that there is a role for identification of blockchain assets to individuals, like de-anonymizing in some circumstances. It's not every use case, but for, if you're paying your friend for dinner, it's real value to make sure that it goes to your friend.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to have some different answers here. How does your project relate to the existing domain name system and namespace of the internet? And Andrew, I'd like to actually start with you this time and give you an opportunity to, I think we missed this slide at the end about the royalty system that you built, and maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, so as I said before, we are both an ICANN DNS domain name owner as well as supporting this ENS project. One of the things that there's been a lot of talk about in the crypto and the NFT community is capturing royalties for the first owners of a particular thing. So we've got a system set up where if you're the first person to buy Jessica.cred, right, and then you subsequently resell it, and then they resell it and so on, then you'll get a royalty for each subsequent sale of that domain name that you originally minted. So in the DNS world, you get domain squatting, right? Amazon.com is worth a huge amount of money because Amazon's a big company, but Amazon.net, somebody's bought that. And if Amazon wants to defend their trademark, they have to buy that from whoever owns Amazon.net or submit a trademark claim. And regulatory and complicated, and lawyers get involved, and they're the ones who make all the money. But you get domain squatters, people who buy domain names similar or the same as popular brands with the intention of selling them later at a profit. And after the first sale, that's it. They don't get anything. Now, we like the idea of incentivizing the first mover. If you've got something you think is going to be big, you can buy it early on in the piece, and then if it resells later on, if it becomes a valuable asset because of the name, you still get a share of the profits in that because you were the first to identify that that's going to be worth something.
Is anybody else on the how your project relates to the current DNS? Anybody else?
Oh yeah, sorry. We exist in DNS as well, so we're bridging the Ethereum tokens to DNS. If you update your DNS settings, so the Ethereum token contains a record of DNS settings that you would like. When they get updated, we update the DNS servers. We've got essentially a cache, and it goes into the mainstream DNS server system via our DNS servers. So the control of the token will get pushed through to the DNS system automatically without any further interference from anyone.
I think a lot of the projects here are somewhat similar in how they integrate with DNS, and I'm really, really excited about that. I think sovereign ownership of these entities in an uncensorable way is critically important and very, very exciting. But I wanted to mention what makes FIO just a little bit different in that a DNS lookup is inherently a public activity. You know, you go from a human readable name to an IP address. And the approach we're attempting to take is a little bit more peer-to-peer and secured because wallet naming, we feel, should be as private as possible. That is a peer-to-peer transaction encrypted as much as possible between two entities. And it also is a Byzantine environment. People are going to try to hack that and swap out that address and make you think you're sending it to the right person and you're not. So I can't just like host it on a private server and be like, no, you guys can all trust me, it's going to be okay. We have to make it an open protocol. We have to make it something that everyone is interested in participating in, which is also why we're making it a decentralized autonomous consortium, the way the foundation itself will be structured. So there's delegated proof of stake in the governance of the chain. There's voting, token-weighted voting for the board itself of the nonprofit foundation. We're trying to build everything out there so that this will be a protocol to keep that part of it as private as possible. So it's a little bit different than DNS naming, but it definitely impacts the wallet naming as well.
So I want to apologize to Jody in advance before I make this answer. We think that DNS and ICANN are centralized, corrupt, and irrelevant to the blockchain world. And asking ICANN for permission is the equivalent of asking the bank's permission for Bitcoin. Of course they're going to say no. But the point here is that we're trying to decentralize the internet. And if you give ICANN control, those domains can be taken away. They can be taken away through court orders. They can be taken away by governments all over the world. So we are advocating for ERC 721 tokens, Ethereum-based blockchain domain names that are controlled by you, that are not controlled by ICANN or DNS. So they're relevant to us.
Great. So I will respond to that. Of course, they'll say no. So we actually, ENS, we do lots of work in the ICANN DNS world. ICANN is a nonprofit organization that represents people from all around the world. It's not a for-profit company. It doesn't have shareholders. It's not just like a rich person or something like this. I think it's actually already somewhat decentralized in its governance. Also, they are actually very positive about blockchain technology. We've built strong relationships with them. They've actually offered us a research project. So in fact, they are very open to the technology. Brad is right that if you have a blockchain native name, that you have the full benefits of security. We also have that with our .eth names, but we think that we can make more progress rather than trying to burn down the current system of working with the current system, which is enormous and the entire internet works on it, to have them to upgrade their system with blockchain technology with the hope that eventually they could have the full benefits. And we made a lot of progress with that. So we think that's a better approach. Jody, I think you also wanted to say something.
I think that Brad is a little bit muddled. It's not ICANN who actually takes things down, it's the ICANN community. So it's a community just like we're a community here, an NFT community. ICANN doesn't actually do anything, which is Brantly's point. All they have done is contracted us, and they make sure that the system that's in place for the ICANN community to manage domains around the world actually stays up. And what is absolutely incredible is that ICANN, in the 30 years or so that they've been managing the internet, have never had 1 second of DNS downtime, which is just extraordinary. And they have realized that this infrastructure is absolutely vital to who we are as humans globally. So we are very, very happy to be merging our really interesting technology, ENS technology, with theirs, and we really hope to work with you in some way as well.
Just to be clear, a ICANN-based domain name is not a self-custody asset. By definition, there is a custodian. A registrar like GoDaddy is your custodian. That is not true with a blockchain domain that is on Ethereum. You store that in your wallet. You store it. That's the reason why no one can take it away from you. It's not that ICANN directly takes it away from you. It's that the nature of the system itself requires a custodian, the registrar. And there is no way to get away from the custodian in the traditional world. That's the reason why we exist. It's the reason why we launched this company, to fix that problem.
Right. So we also have that same self-custody property with .eth names in ENS. We have that exact same thing, but we have an order of magnitude more ecosystem adoption for doing those things. I would say, though, that the fact that in the DNS world, you're right, you don't have self-custody. That's absolutely true. But that's due to the technology they use. That's not because of ICANN. That's not because of the DNS namespace. That's why we think we can actually upgrade the tech stack, bring some of these properties. We won't have full self-custody right from the beginning. We can get a lot of the other benefits, like programmability, interactivity, benefits in trading, lack of escrow, and things like that. And then over time, hopefully, we can bring the full self-custody benefits. That's a technological question, not merely a political question. Do you want to respond? I don't want to abuse my position as moderator here.
Does anybody think that Bank of America is going to give you self-custody over your money? I don't think so. This audience should care about self-custody. I would assume if we were to be anywhere where self-custody is important, it would be at an Ethereum event. I can't imagine. I mean, that's why I got into crypto.
I think the greatest thing is we don't have to fight it out to figure it out. The market will decide, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, well, I'd say Bank of America is a for-profit company. ICANN is a non-profit, which just does what its members do, and anybody can be a part of the community. So I think it's fundamentally different. It's like, anyway. Do you have anything else you want to say on that?
That's it.
Okay, we can move
I've gotten
on.
myself in enough trouble, I'm sure.
It's fine.
I was just going to say that you could put an Ethereum-based name server in place in the DNS structure, right? Like there's nothing stopping us switching our name servers, our DNS name servers out tomorrow with an ENS name resolver, right? And we will be serving IP addresses straight from the blockchain, right? We could make ourselves as a registrar, we could eliminate ourselves more or less from the loop just by saying,
Oh, wow.
you know, use an ENS resolver, right? You use a different name resolver. These are all decentralized, they're out there. ENS has got public name servers based on the ENS tokens that we are issuing, right? If you're worried about that, point your DNS services to a public name server and skip the registrar, skip the infrastructure, right? Skip the centralized point of control. It's there and it works.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't find it even a desirable future to get rid of the current namespace. I think an enormous amount of social capital and business capital is invested in the current namespace, which is why I think it's desirable to me that we bring the benefits of blockchain technology to the current namespace rather than just try to convince everybody that's lost cause and that they instead need to buy the names that Brad's for-profit company is selling instead.
Let's make the revolution happen. Come talk to me after.
Okay, great. We're almost out of time. Just 40 seconds. Does anybody have anything they want to say that we didn't talk about?
I just want to say it's amazing how much we all care about the same problem. We all realize that cryptocurrencies are too hard to use. We're all trying to make it easier. We're all trying to give you sovereign control of your own assets. We're all looking for the points of failure that we've been discussing in this space for 10 years now. And I love that. And I'm really excited to be on this panel with you guys because we all care about the same thing. Even though we might be seen as competitors at sometimes, passionately taking our approach to it, I love that we're all up at night trying to solve the same problems. So thank you guys.
I'll echo that. I think this panel is quite entertaining, and thanks for adding a little spice to it. But yeah, it's definitely exciting to see this space sort of evolve into a real. I think it'll be a bigger market than the existing market for domains. So, and it's going to be a much more liquid market, much more exciting market, much more real market. So that's super exciting to see.